Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.
Hello and welcome to ETMarkets Crypto Q&A. I'm Aloni Bhatt. Today we have with us Savan, who is a seasoned researcher and writer focused on crypto assets, tokenomics, and the emerging Web3 industry.
Hey guys, Savan here. I'm a writer and researcher at CoinSwitch. I've been in the crypto space for nearly 3 to 4 years. I've been a Web3 enthusiast. I've been tracking the industry and the space closely for like 2 years. So I'm happy to take questions today on the topic of CBDCs, stablecoin, ECash bill, and how it will impact the crypto market. So what are CBDCs? CBDCs are essentially, as we know, is simply a digital variant of country's fiat or legal tenders. I'm aware you guys know what legal tenders are. Legal tenders are medium of exchange recognized by a country's law. So CBDC is strictly a central bank money, different from the traditional financial reserves in a slight bit, but it isn't meant to challenge the existing financial instruments used in an economy. And why we use CBDC? To simplify day-to-day payments on a local and even the international scale. The emergence of private cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin has brought in certain positives like easy transferability across borders and and privacy. CBDC will bring forth these positive traits to of cryptocurrencies, but while maintaining the financial stability of a country. And more importantly, CBDCs will help central banks with increased efficiency and reduced currency management costs. How are CBDCs different from cryptocurrencies and stablecoins? Fundamentally, there are three differences between a central bank digital currency and a cryptocurrency. So the first, as you know, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoins are digital currencies designed to work as a medium of exchange without an intermediary like a central bank. But as the CBDC itself carries the central bank in its name, CBDCs are issued and controlled by the central bank. That's the first difference. Second difference are cryptocurrencies are fundamentally built on a blockchain technology, but some CBDCs, as we see today in experimentation, may not be on blockchain. Most of them are on blockchain, but an optional feature. And the third essential differences are cryptocurrencies, as you see, the market today itself, are volatile, 5% up, 10% down, it keeps varying. But CBDCs are stable, it is nothing but your Indian rupee, INR rupee. So it is essentially stable and more suitable for transactions. What are the different types of CBDCs? CBDCs today are in the building stages around the globe. It is hard to differentiate, these are the types of CBDCs, but based on the developments, we can classify CBDCs into two larger types. The first one would be the wholesale CBDCs. These CBDCs are standard nationwide financial reserves, primarily used for initiating interbank transactions. You can imagine a wholesale CBDC as a connector between two national banks or one national bank and one central bank. It is similar to the RTGS payment setup we have today. On the other side, another type of CBDC could be the retail CBDCs. Retail CBDCs empower the regular user. The one India is experimenting on, called the digital rupee, will take the form of retail CBDCs. This functionally ensures the relevant virtual currencies can be used for P2P payments and daily transactions. And the retail CBDCs need not have an intermediary bank or directly linked to it's directly linked to the central bank like the RBI. Are there any CBDCs currently on offer in the market? Like I said earlier, a lot of CBDCs have been in progress. Many countries, according to some reports, around 90 countries in the world are experimenting. For instance, digital euro is already in the final stages of the pilot project taken care by the European Central Bank. And around 9 countries have essentially launched CBDCs. Most famously, Bahamas has launched the sand dollar. Nigeria is the first African country to launch its own CBDC. And the same trend is in India. We are in the final stages of having our own CBDC. In this budget session of 2022, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced a digital rupee in the making that will be out by the end of this fiscal year. A blockchain power CBDC, which is an interesting news for all the crypto buffs. How are CBDCs different from digital payments that we currently make, like UPI, IMPS, NEFT, etc.? A very interesting question. Often we get confused. What's the purpose of CBDCs if it's just like another, UPI payment? The fundamental difference here is what CBDC tries to do is eliminate the third-party intermediaries. Even now when you make a payment through UPI, your payment modes are connected to the commercial banks and regular means of payment. But however, in the CBDC, it is directly taken care by the central bank. What this does is brings in efficiency and eliminates the time lapse and all of that inefficiencies in the process. As well, there are some other small differences. Digital rupee in itself will be an underlying payment mode that can be used for digital payments instead of currency or cash. The payment trails like UPI, IMPS, etc. use the underlying currency to transfer the funds. Another interesting question, will CBDCs eliminate fiat currencies? No, we don't see that happening in the near future. Essentially, both will coexist. CBDC is fundamentally, making the existing traditional form of money more efficient. So we don't think CBDCs will eliminate fiat currencies anytime soon, or that is not the purpose of it. Okay. Recently, members of the US House of Representatives pushed for a government-backed digital dollar, electronic cash and secure hardware, ECash bill. So what is ECash bill? This was an interesting move. I suppose it happened in March of this year, that a group of private members proposed a bill called ECash bill. And a lot of people consider this to be the CBDC. But the bill itself clearly makes that distinction that it isn't a CBDC. ECash will essentially emulate the physical dollar, but without private intermediaries like bank and credit card companies. The primary objective of ECash is to preserve the privacy of its users, to make operation without access, and the second users to make operation access without the internet possible. So let's say cryptocurrencies today provides some bit of privacy. The existing traditional system does not provide that autonomy in transactions. But what ECash bill intends to do is take it to the other extreme, where people vouch for complete privacy. So proponents of ECash bill say cryptocurrency in itself lacks that so much. Cryptocurrencies are trackable. So they want something even more private than the crypto. And hence they brought in the ECash bill. And if the bill gets passed, the Treasury would have to initiate the pilot within 19 days and deploy ECash as a money to public within 4 years. So it's interesting to wait and watch where this stands. But since it's a private bill, I don't see much light to it. How is ECash different from CBDCs? Like I already mentioned, ECash bill clearly draws a distinction between central bank digital currencies and the proposed digital dollar. A CBDC is a digital form of fiat currency issued by a country's central bank, and it is based on blockchain technology. On the other hand, ECash will be issued by the Treasury Department and not the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is the central bank, US's central bank, much like RBI in India. Besides, it will neither be built on blockchain technology nor controlled by a central authority. So technically, ECash is not a CBDC. What are some benefits of ECash for users? Besides the obvious benefits of data privacy and consumer protection, as I mentioned earlier, some interesting benefits are they are looking upon offline transactions, secured by hardware devices. So essentially what this will solve for is the financial inclusion problem. For people who do not have a bank account, ECash will mean better accessibility to the monetary system. And another benefit we could look at is more security, as banks may fail or face liquidity issues. But the ECash bill is essentially backed by the government itself, which will never fail. As I mentioned earlier, around 90 countries are currently planning to welcome some form of CBDC, and they fall in one of these 4 categories. It is interesting to see that around 9 countries have already launched these CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and 14 more are, as of today, 14 more are in the stages of giving the pilot projects. What's the status of development of CBDCs around the world? As of today, we can segregate CBDCs into 4 broader categories. One would be launch projects. The second would be the pilot projects that are in the final stages of launch. The third would be projects in the development phase. And lastly, projects under planning. As of today, around 80 to 90 countries are already working with CBDCs to some extent and fall in one of these 4 categories. CBDCs are already in motion with 9 countries, including Bahamas, Nigeria, St. Lucia, and around 14 countries have already kickstarted the pilot projects. Our neighbor UAE, China, and Sweden in Europe are already running these pilot projects. India, Russia, Canada, and Brazil are still in the development phase, but as mentioned earlier, as specified in our 2020 finance budget, it is the CBDC India's e-rupee CBDC project is expected to be rolled out by the end of this fiscal year, and let's hope for it. Yes. Are CBDCs feasible in our current economic system? Definitely. When central banks are looking into it, they look into it because of a lot of value it adds, and essential value is the reduced cost of managing country's monetary system, the money into printing and minting and distribution and all of this. So there is a lot of feasibility, and the central bank digital currencies are an add-on to the traditional system of money like currency, cash. It is not a replacement. And moreover, as we see it, we are moving towards a more sustainable global framework with demarcating boundaries blurring. So a global digital currency is the way forward. For the industry specific, for the crypto industry, this all countries, central banks essentially jumping into CBDC is looked at a big win from the perspective of blockchain supremacy. They understand the technology is really strong, helps them as better account keeping systems. That acceptance is a big, some industry experts view it as a big win.
That's it from us. Hope this was informative. Do write into us at ETMarkets Crypto Corner with your thoughts and your questions. We'll see you soon.
Crypto products and NFTs are unregulated and can be highly risky. There may be no regulatory recourse for any loss from such transactions.